All right, guys, welcome back to the MVM Show. I've got some great guests today that I think you guys are going to really enjoy, and really looking forward to talking to Braden and Kevin. You know, Kevin's been on here a few times, and there's an interesting little backstory of how all this has come together, really. So, but first off, just a couple words from sponsors that you guys have been hearing about. First off, Miller Outdoor Adventures. They're located in Northeast Arkansas on the Cache River. They got rice and bean fields, and they do snow goose and duck, duck and snow goose conservation hunts, and they do guided, unguided, which I really like that option. I've said it before. But if you guys mention the MVM show, you guys get $50 off a day, and they've got different prices. You can check out their site, MillerOutdoorAdventures.com. You can also check them out on Facebook, Miller Outdoor Adventure NEA, or you can just call or text to book a hunt, 870-586-3004. And they got some dates available still. And even maybe thinking a little bit about their snow goose conservation hunts. Maybe that's something we're looking at doing in February. Just even kind of throw that out to you guys, Kevin and Braden. But also Motion Ducks, and they're going to be a sponsor for the podcast for a little bit. And you guys know how we feel about them. If I was to ever use a jerk string, and I have in these calm, stale days in California, it is by far, I think, the most superior jerk string. We've been using it for probably 4 years now on those calm days. And that is Motion Ducks. And if you go to their site, motionducks.com/MVM, you will see a page that's set up basically for you guys, our listeners. And not only are you going to get a discount already off a whole setup there for that, you get a free weight bag, and you also can put in the code MVM10 and get an additional 10% off. So I want to really say thank you to Motion Ducks for making that offer for the listeners. You guys go check them out. If you need a jerk string, I'm telling you, that's the way to do it. So anyways, check them out. All right, let's get into the show. We got Braden Anderson here on the show with us, and then we got Kevin Bagduxian or Bagdays. So guys, I think we just hit it off so well the few times that we've talked, Braden, already, but we're also going to just go ahead and call him Pauly G, because that's what we've been calling him, and that's basically his Instagram. What is your Instagram? Just so people, if they want to go check you out or whatever. Uh-oh, did I lose? Did I drop the
Did we lose Braden? Did we lose Pauly G?
Might have lost Pauly G there. That's funny. He was just on there. Let me see. See if I can add him on, Kevin. It might go silent for a moment.
Okay.
That's weird. I don't know how that happened. All right. Bear with us, folks. Technical difficulties. Let me add him on here real quick. We literally were just talking 10 seconds ago. All right, here we go. We lost you. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, I'm going to merge it back again. I don't know what happened there.
Okay.
All right, Kevin, we're back up. So, Braden, I was asking, what's your Instagram? I was kind of telling people why we called you Pauly G.
Oh, Pauly Goose.
Yeah, Pauly Goose. So is it Pauly _ Goose?
It's Pauly _ Goose. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and tell us a little bit about yourself, Braden. I know, and I'm saying Braden, but it does feel funny when we're talking about that, being all corporate like on a podcast. But just kind of tell us where you grew up and where you're at now, what you got going on.
Sure. So I grew up in the Bay Area, California, San Jose, 408. Grew up a refuge rat. My dad started taking me when I was about 6, and I just fell in love with it. And there wasn't I missed a lot of sporting activities and a lot of friends' birthday parties growing up. There wasn't very many weekends that I'd skip. And so grew up on the refuges doing that. When I was 18, I moved out to Utah to go to school. I had some family out here, and growing up, I did a couple guided hunts when we came out to visit family, and just thought it was a super cool area to hunt. A lot of diversity. And once I moved out here, I got hooked. I mean, just the number of birds and the species is pretty amazing. So I've been out here for 4 or 5 years now,
Oh wow.
chasing ducks, and I mean, kind of put school on the back burner during the season and just try to hunt as much as I can.
What are you going to school for?
That was business.
Oh, business. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I don't. I
Now
mean, I don't
I'm
blame you if it's ducks. We were talking about yesterday. We were gonna actually record this yesterday, and he's like, "Man, I got a invite to a hunt. Yesterday, can we put on a hold?" And it's like, "Man, ducks are always first, man. Don't even have
That's
to ask
right.
that question."
Ducks are always first. I'm glad I did that. That hunt turned out pretty fun.
And that's cool that you're the one that
Yeah.
shot that stud Drake Gaddy.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of came into the sun
Mhm.
and, shot her in the sun, went to go pick it up and had to kind of picked it up and looked at it and was like, walked back. And then I took a real look at it. I was like, dang, that's a stud. Pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a gold ring because I shot one with a black ring earlier this year, but that one has like a. I've never seen one like that with like a goldish kind of. I mean, at least
Yeah,
it
it
looked
was
that way in the
like-
picture.
Yeah, it was like tan. Like the picture doesn't even do it justice. Like top part of his head was like little purple, had a little purple in there, and then the bottom half was like this yellowish tan, had the ring, and then it started to get a white ring around its neck. It was faint, but it was getting in there.
Mhm.
I mean, they really don't get too much better than that.
No kidding. Yeah, that was
This is
beautiful bird.
definitely
Did that one
stud.
go in the freezer?
That one did.
It did. Yeah.
It did, yes.
Nice.
Right on.
Nice.
Right on. So we would like to hear and maybe I'm getting off of what I even said before we started this podcast about kind of the semi construction of this episode, but can you kind of tell us about, just your thoughts and mindset of being a refuge rat, growing up in California, hunting, having success, doing good, which is not easy to do. But if you do
Yeah.
that, that says a lot. And obviously it says a lot about your dad as a mentor and someone that took you. But can you compare the two differences and kind of what your thoughts are on, California versus other states and stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. California is definitely, I mean, if you're consistently successful in public land out in California, I mean, you got some hustle. I mean, the weather, the water situation, I mean, California, it seems like it's gotten even tougher than when I first started going out, when I was a little kid, my dad dragging me out. It's definitely different. I mean, public land out here is a lot different because of how the refuges are set up. I mean, you can hunt 7 days a week. And so if you have a big cold front or, some weather pushing through,
Mhm.
you can go out, and hunt any day you want.
Mhm.
And also you can go out there and scout any day you want.
Mhm.
And so you have a lot more, opportunity, hunting public land that you have 7 days. Whereas if you're hunting a refuge and you only got those 3 shoot days, well, you might scout a spot, after your hunt on Saturday or whatever, and see a spot for Sunday or something that you want to hunt Wednesday. And you got, those couple days that those birds can totally change what they're doing.
Mhm.
And also if you have a big weather push coming through on a Tuesday or Thursday or something, you don't have the opportunity to go out there and hunt it.
Mhm.
And I think too, number of guys, California, there's a lot of guys, playing the refuge and getting out there and hunting. And it's kind of harder to get away from the numbers. Whereas hunting a state that doesn't have quite as many people, you can kind of get away from people a little bit easier. And kind of the difference too is, one nice thing about, having 7 days is you can hunt any day of the week. One downside is those birds get hit every single day.
Mhm.
Whereas in California, with only 3 days, those birds don't get, as much pressure. But then on those shoot days, Refuge is full, and you're not just competing with live birds, you're competing with 3-4 other guys that are set up within 200 yards of you.
Yeah.
So definitely different styles of hunting.
I know, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, because we've had these conversations many times. The more that we've ventured out in the last 4 years, basically, I think it was like 4 years ago the first time we ever went out of state, and it was like a big eye opener, and it was like, whoa, no, yeah, it was 4, maybe 5, but it was just like, you don't want to come back because you're not trying to like upset people, because everyone's got to put their due diligence in and their work and their scouting, all this and that. But I just guess you don't know unless you're a California duck hunter and that's what you grew up doing, and then you go out of state. Maybe you just don't understand that. It's not saying that, I don't know how to say it without trying to offend anybody, but like, it's not that you're saying you're better or you work hard, because people, like being up in, like Idaho or places that are northern, Montana, places that get bitter cold. I mean, those dudes have it. Those are gnarly winters that they're dealing with that we'll never see here in California, except Northern California can get pretty bad too. But, everyone pays their own price in a different way. But the biggest thing to me, like you were saying, is the scouting opportunities, because people just don't even comprehend that. Like, what? You can't scout? Like Refuges? It's like, no. I mean, unless you want to sit up on the road and bring a spotting scope and,
good luck.
Yeah.
And how much benefit does that bring here to a California Refuge scouting?
Like he said, it almost kind of doesn't really, because weather and 2 or 3 days go by before you can even touch it. I mean, how many times, Paulie, have you seen it where the windstorm, the crazy north winds hits on a Thursday, right after a still Wednesday, and you're like, man.
Oh, yeah.
How many? It happens all the time.
Yeah, you're sitting there, you're like, just wishing you could get out, and you're stuck in the house and it's blowing 30 miles an hour from the north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's I kind of skipped over it and jumped ahead a little bit, but let's kind of go back to the culmination of like how, Kevin, me and you've talked about kind of how we met, so to speak, even though it wasn't face to face, it was through Instagram, but like, it's not easy to find guys that are super like-minded. I mean, I think most people would say, oh, you're waterfowlers, a lot are like-minded, but there's a difference in just personalities too. Yeah. It's not just about hunting ducks. Like, oh, I like to hunt ducks. So do I. Well, there's also a lot of personal things that you're not just going to duck hunt with any and every guy, right? But I don't know why me and you hit it off so well, Kevin. Like you say it all the time, cut from the same cloth, but kind of what was the culmination, since we already talked about mine and yours, what was the culmination there with Paulie Goose?
With Paulie and I?
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, we were just kind of, because I was fairly new to Instagram, this is my 3rd year, right? But I was kind of getting on there, making some friends or whatever, some likes and followers or whatnot. And we were just kind of tit for tatting on pictures. Not that we were going up against each other, but he was shooting birds, I was shooting birds, and we were just kind of making a little dialogue with each other on some pics. And right. And then I think we said, oh, where are you hunting? I don't even if I thought you were shooting. I didn't think you were shooting Utah. Let me just say that. I thought you were shooting another state. And I don't know, we just kind of were just always liking each other's pics. And I don't know, I think I finally reached out to him, I don't know, about some ducking stuff. And then it just kind of spawned from there.
Well,
right?
you called me originally about, I think it was about a DU? Was it a DU or California waterfowl? Like had some questions.
Oh yeah. So I was, good memory here. I was just wanted your perspective on a few things that, and I think I even called you, Titus. About the 3.5.
Oh yeah.
Band from like the Refuge. right?
You upset some people, by the way, with that.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
I end up
I'm
getting
sure-
some
yeah.
stuff later, like, well, if you can't find ammo, what do you want us to do? But anyways, go ahead. I had to throw that in there.
Buy 2 3/4.
Yeah, never.
Yeah. How dare you say that?
Let me ask you guys this, not to get off track, but how many of you guys shot 2 3/4 for years? I know I did with steel.
Oh, yeah. I grew up shooting a 20.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah.
The only reason I don't shoot a 20 is I think it was a DU thing my last year as a junior, and I won a 12 gauge, and I just took that out to Utah with me. So
nice.
Yeah. I think we're all sub gauge guys. Like I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for that A5, as you know, that A520.
Mm-mm. Oh yeah, we're dialed for that for sure.
Gosh, man, and
it feels like it's never gonna happen.
I know I might have to. Yeah, and then Polly's always been game.
Mm-hmm.
He said he's just got that 12 though that he's just rocking right now.
That our last hunt up north was I was shooting my 20.
20s are awesome.
Yeah. Dude, you know what? Okay, let's just go ahead. I was saying we're not gonna get off topic, but here, let's go.
Let's be topicless.
Okay, listen. Dude, so me and Harrison's really the one that put this thought in my head I never had thought about before. I never think I had paid attention to it before. But when you're out on a refuge, or not even on a refuge, but you're out hunting and you hear what sounds like literally like a cannon, and you're like, that is, I don't know what that is, if that's like a 10 gauge or what that is, but it's a totally different sound. It ain't no 12 gauge. It just is like, go woo. And so you got a gun that sounds like that, whether it is a 12 gauge or a 10 gauge or whatever. And then you got the ones you don't even know you're not hearing. And you know what those are? Those are 20 gauges, or those are 28 gauges. There's California clubs that allow nothing over a 20 gauge. I've met and known some of the guys, and their purpose is, and again, this is what Harrison brought this all to my mind. I got to get you guys to meet Harrison too, but he was talking about how he shoots 28 gauge a lot and is 20, and he was saying how everybody on the club that shoots 20, he said they'll be like 300 yards away in another pond and you can barely hear them shoot. And he truly believes that it causes less, it messes with the birds less. It's less obtrusive to the birds, whereas like a 12 gauge is. And so he got my brain to spin on that. Like, dude, that makes complete sense.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. That's why those clubs do it, because you don't blow the birds out.
Yeah.
As bad. That's why they said they do that.
Yeah. It's just a thought, but I mean, it makes complete and total sense.
And how dare they do that to a refuge?
Yeah.
How dare you? Don't want to blow the birds out. No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that.
No, it's terrible.
I know sub gauges are never going to come to the refuge. The California hunter will never let that happen. But yeah, it's
you can't take those 80-yard, 100-yard shots, then, Kevin.
Yeah. How dare they make me shoot something at 30? They took the 10 gauge out of the refuge system. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't even want to go there. That's going to be a sore subject, but yeah. So that's how we I had some questions just to maybe bring up, and I wanted Polly's perspective, since he was a California hunter. And just I was trying to get perspective from everybody around to see if it would take some legs with CWA, kind of get the pulse of guys from all over, like 50-year-olds that have been there with lead and all these other type of things and great refuge days, to the younger crowd, right? Trying to get some good diverse perspective. And that's how we finally, I think, established some contact was with that, and the rest is history,
And then how's that happen? Because I mean, we hear it all the time how there's that negative side of social media, which I see it all the time myself. Just having a YouTube channel, you're putting yourself out there, so I mean, you're just gonna get the feedback. But also, I mean, you see it all the time on Instagram. It's just like there can be negativity, but like we've talked about, this relationship right here that's culminating would have never happened without it, you know.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
So there's so much good to be had. Doesn't mean you're going to have 60 or 500 of these kind of buddies. I mean, to me, you just have a couple good friends, a couple people that think the way you do
That's
and
all
hunt
I
the way you
need.
do. That's all you need.
Yeah. I couldn't handle more than that, you know?
Well, it's just not doable to me in waterfowl, and I, you know what I mean? It's just, I mean, not that you can't swap around and like, oh, you know, but like, it's like once you start getting used to the way, just like me and my brother, like it's like we hunt every single time almost together, and it's fun to be with other buddies once in a while and everything. But it's like it's just
You kind of
Like-
get you get that chemistry.
Yes.
Like I notice it too if I'm hunting with one of my buddies pretty frequently. Like if they say like, oh, out in front there's a pair, or you know, over your side or something. Like you just naturally kind of know where they're talking about.
mm-hmm.
You know, you have that same dialogue. You're kind of on the same page. You know, and then you also know like the shots you're gonna take.
Yep.
You know.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah. That's probably one of the biggest right there.
And you know what, Kevin? I think with our hunt together, that I will tell you, that went about as smooth as it can without ever hunting with somebody, because I have done lots of hunts in the last couple of years with people that I've never hunted with. And again, maybe that's why I'm just like, I don't like doing that no more than I have to, because I've been doing it quite a bit, and you know, it's fun, whatever. It has its place, but it's not a thing that I want to do often. But it's like, oh my goodness, like, you know, certain people want to make the calls, or they want to just do certain things, and it's like, this is just not my style. But like when we hunted with you, I just felt like it meshed with what ours was. Like, oh man, this is kind of natural, really. Like, you know,
Right? And Paula, you could probably attest to this. I'm not like overbearing out there when I'm hunting with any.
Oh no.
You know, I'm kind of like, we all know what we're doing. I'm not better than anybody else. If you got some better ideas or got some, you know, or whatever, let's do it. You know, for an area like where we shot Titus, I mean, I kind of know how these birds are going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm always open to new, you know, some perspective. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know, I kind of know how it works there, so I can kind of orchestrate it, right, without being abrasive. And I think it was just kind of like, yeah, this is kind of where they're going to come in. Let's do it if they're there. You know, I kind of give us that approach, like, it's early. You know, there's some people around. Maybe we take these, they're there, and then as the day goes on, less folks around or whatnot, we can work those birds in even closer, you know.
That's really, honestly, that's for any beginner. That is a really good point to bring up, Kevin. Like, that's a good teaching point that people I don't think they think about. Well, we talked about out there hitting the refresh button. I feel like you could do a whole podcast on that. Like every 15 minutes, you know, hit the refresh button and adjust. That was something me and you had talked about on our last hunt together. Is like, you know what? The maybe the wind changed, or the sun came out, or you know, there's more hunters or there's less hunters. Like you said, you just hit that refresh and adjust, and like, okay, this
get later in the day.
Yep.
How many more? You know, they may not give us another pass because it's later in the day. These birds are probably going to see it, maybe like it, or give us a shot and then go down somewhere. We may not be able to turn them, right? You know, kind of knowing, like hitting that refresh every so often just to kind of keep you on point so you can maximize it. Because we had a few towards the end, I think on another hunt where, the second hunt, where if we would have refreshed a little bit, we probably would have got those birds.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But we let them go, and they just kind of kept going, you know, and it's like, well, shoot, you know, should have figured that late in the day. But
and saying that, we'll both agree on, I'd way rather say one more pass and not even get the opportunity than take a shot that you're like, why did I shoot at that? I should have never took that shot, you know?
Oh yeah. I'll take that any day.
So, Paulie, I like to ask you. I like to ask this to everybody that I haven't known for long, and they don't have no preface to like what my thoughts are on it. But what is your thoughts on getting ducks consistently every hunt, feet down in the decoys on public refuges?
Oh man. Well, I think there's times where that's how we're going to do it. There's also times where, especially on public refuges, if it seems like every time you got birds swinging, doing their last pass, they're about to do it dirty in the decoys, you have someone shoot, because it's not just your little area, it's the entire refuge. So there's always shots going off, especially when it's hot. And so, you gotta, I think being a successful hunter, especially on a public land hunter, is taking the opportunities you're given. They may not be right in your face. I mean, I prefer, and I'm sure majority of the hunters are the same, that you want them to do it dirty right in the decoys. But if they're coming right over the top of you 25, 30 yards, and you don't know who's going to be shooting what, you don't know what's going on in their area. I mean, ideally you want them right in the decoys, but it's capitalizing on your opportunities. They don't have to be directly in the decoys for me to feel satisfied or fulfilled. I mean, I love the over the top, 20, 30 yard shot, when you don't know what they're going to do, or variables that you don't have any control over is going to affect what those birds are doing,
Yep. We're on the same page. I mean, I just wanted to hear it without me even giving you my thoughts. I mean, you say verbatim what I say, and who doesn't like it dirty in the decoys? But I mean, you got to take your opportunities, and to kind of talk to the listeners here. If you're not from California, and I know a lot of you aren't, those birds coming, that's what we all dream of, and we all want, landing in the decoys, and it does and can happen and has happened. But when he's talking about people shooting, he's not talking about just people shooting your swing birds, which is terrible. I hate that bird, because if you're shooting my swing birds, you're way too close. But that happens consistently on the refuges. But you weren't even talking about that. You're just talking about someone a mile or 2 miles away on the same refuge taking a shot at their birds, which is totally fine.
Shooting that 3.5.
Shooting that 3.5.
That's awesome.
And then them flaring off of shots. I mean,
yeah,
it's, it sounds like a popcorn machine.
Yeah, and Polly, that was the test, and you passed.
Cool. I'm glad I did.
But yeah, that's like situational awareness, right? Like we all, like you guys said, we all would prefer ducks in the decoys. But if you're at a refuge, like you're going to come out there probably limitless if you're going to wait for feet down in the decoys at a refuge, right? You're going to, you strive for that. We all do. But you got to know your situation. When I'm at a refuge, I'm going to take these, these killable shots, because they're there.
Yep.
Yeah, as long as it's there. Oh yeah, as long as it's an ethical shot, you're not scraping anything. I don't see any issue with it at all.
Just only skyscraper dream only kind of shots.
That's right.
Skyscraper dream, dude. That's all I live for.
That's right.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get on that, Tom. I was gonna say something, but I better not. I better stay away. So, guys, I'm trying not to do a lot of the talking. I want to let you guys chat and listen to you guys talk. But tell us, maybe we'll go into the whole Western United States opportunity here in a second. But why don't you guys kind of tell us about your last hoopla and what you guys did? I want to hear it, man. I mean, hey, it very, very impressive, I will say. The fact you guys paid the price and you came out on top. I'd like to hear kind of the whole stage and story.
Well, hey, Paulie, give a little perspective here since you're, new to the whole podcast thing.
Sure.
Start it off and I'll fill in,
Oh, man.
Perspective.
Well, it was a couple months in the making.
I'd
say. I was lucky enough to kind of get a somewhat last minute invite. I think it was about
maybe 3 weeks
around that, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so pretty stoked.
3
Don't
weeks to a
do-
month, maybe.
Yeah, probably around there. Let's see. And do we want to talk about how that all came,
Yeah, we can kind of glaze over that or touch on it a little and then get to the real, meat and potatoes of it. But, whatever's
Yeah, it was just an area that it was just kind of on our radar. That
yes.
me and Kevin talked about possibilities of this location, finding it, and putting in some work to find it.
Yeah, we scoured the interwebs.
Yeah, for a few hours, to say the least.
Yeah, a little tweak mode. I had to throw in the towel, dude, and go to bed. I think I was coming off a trip, a 3-day trip, and I remember being on the couch and it was like probably 9 my time, maybe 10, so like 11 your time, and we were kind of looking at stuff together.
Yeah,
I was kind of fading.
Yeah, I was on a roll. I think I was up until 2-3 o'clock the next morning, just looking, just searching every
tap out.
stretch. Yeah,
like, you got this, partner.
Man, and that's hard. That's hard to get Kevin to tap out too, man.
I know.
But I was coming ooff like a 3-day, 4-day bender, and,
yeah. And so I sent Kevin the pin of a possible location, and he woke up to that text and he said, "Oh crap! I think this is it. I think he found it." And I was kind of unsure, but we kind of had that in the back pocket, and we were going to a different area, and it was kind of a rocky road to get there. I mean, I blew a tire first hour of the trip.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And on the way home, I got pulled over twice.
Oh, really?
Because of trailer light issues. So it was, and I had motor issues. I had a frozen throttle cable. I mean, it was.
Oh my gosh, dude! If those duck odds were trying to keep us from getting there, they did a heck of a job. But we prevailed, dude.
Yeah. First night.
Maniac.
Yeah, first night. I didn't even think we were making it back to the boat launch.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was a little rocky. But Kevin, if you want to take it away from there, get into the kind of the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, yeah. So we we're with the posse. We finally get up there, and it's just not really panning out in our original spot. So Polly and I say, "Hey, we're gonna go check out this pin that we found, a couple months prior," and we go up that way. Our other group go another way, and we launch, do our thing, and we go out there, and we didn't have any issues getting out there. Actually, things were really smooth getting out.
Oh yeah, we were dialed getting out.
Dialed getting out. Geared up. We didn't take a ton of decoy, Titus, because I don't know what we didn't. We took like silhouettes.
Yeah, we had
silhouettes and a blade.
Wow.
Yeah.
What were you just trying to stay light, or what was your reasoning for that? Or because the other guys had them, right?
Yeah, the other guys had them, and we were, didn't know if we would
hunt.
I don't know if there was going to be any ducks to shoot at that time. I don't know. But we had decoys. I mean, they were silhouettes, and everybody knows those are like the new rage anymore. So they'll work.
Yeah.
So we're going down the river, and we're coming up, and I'm like, yeah, this is it. I could just tell by the terrain. I think I remember looking back at Paul and being like, yeah, this is it. This is it. So we pull in there, and we're like, okay, cool.
And was there any ducks there at the moment?
We had jumped some along the way.
Okay.
Yeah, but not in not like ridiculous numbers, right?
No. I mean, we didn't really see a duck until we got to the boat launch.
Yeah, and prior to that, so our three, our drive there, we saw more deer than ducks.
Yeah. we were thinking we need to go buy some deer tags.
Dude, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a deer person's paradise, Like,
Yeah.
I haven't seen so many deer before. They were like Turks walking around in fields, you know? It was crazy. So we jump a few ducks along the way. We don't jump necessarily. I don't think we jumped like a ton of duck out of the spot we shot, really.
No, we didn't kick out any ducks.
Probably anything. Yeah.
No.
But we knew this was the spot. So we're like, shoot, it started to get maybe a little, I mean, it was kind of overcasty day, but we had time. So we're like, hey, let's set up. So I put out some what we had for silhouettes, ducks, and then a few honkers, and I brought a blade. And that's what we shot over. And as soon as we put him out, he goes and hides the boat, and I get a group to come in, a smaller group, but I take one closest to me, happened to be a hen. And then I was like, dang, we just set up. And then he's running back, right? And he just gets there, right? Am I right, Paulie? You just get there and we have a big old group come up on us?
Yeah, I just loaded my gun.
Just loaded gun. And we don't have any blinds, Titus, mind you. We're just kind of, so we're just like laying in this grass. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fortunately, they had like fairly like maybe 2 feet tall, 18 inches, 2 feet tall, like grass stuff. Yeah. So it was able to obscure us. And so as soon as he gets there, I'm like, oh my gosh, get down. There's another group coming. And then it just gets bigger. And it was like 3 layers, right, Paulie?
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
They just like spun, and then another layer came on, and then we probably had an opportunity to shoot, but they were working so good. Like that lower group was just going to turn and come right in. Goodness. And
did you guys have like much wind?
Layers. Yeah, there was wind. Yeah, we did have a nice wind. That
probably
was a nice factor.
Probably like a 15-mile-an-hour wind, I'd say.
Yeah. I'd say a 15. Yeah. I can concur with that. So they're going to do it right. They're going to spin and come right in our face, and we're set up. And I'm like, hey, wait, let's wait. And they just come around this lower group and just work it like perfect, like right in her face. We go, I triple, he doubles.
Oh man.
And
it was just one of those moments we kind of just both looked at each other like, this might work.
Yeah. 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like we had like, and we probably say like 25, 50, probably at least 60 birds in all, like right around us, with those 3 layers, I'm presuming, so, and then it was just kind of like, we didn't have another, I don't think, big group of 25 or to 60 come in like that on that day, but it was just, we just kept consistently getting every bird that was kind of coming saw us and came in. Pretty much. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shout out to the blade.
We ended up, what's that?
I said, shout out to the blade.
Oh, dude. Yeah. We wanted, yeah. That
no
worked.
kidding. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, also, we had one area where it was shallow enough to put those silhouettes. And so all those silhouettes are just clumped up and just a little wad with the mojo right up in the middle. I mean,
yeah. And that would have never worked in California.
No
way.
No. But it worked, and we proceeded to get our 14.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was just every group that came by just came in. You didn't have to. You didn't. I mean, and Titus. I mean, in these other states, man. I mean, these birds just do it dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like they get hit so hard here in California that I've yet to see a mallard go tip to tip here.
Yeah.
With the wings.
Yeah.
Like we did in these other states, like consistently, just like. And Polly, right? We had some like straight.
Yeah, we had some come in from the heavens.
Yeah. To where heavens, as they say. Basically to where let's say if you pick a point in the sky and you're staring at it, and you just keep staring, all of a sudden you see a little pepper speck, and then all of a sudden it's a duck tip to tip, and then bam, he's right. Like that kind of style, probably, right? Like that's what you're seeing,
right? And we had some like when we grouped up after we got the posse there. like on some nether days, like, you know how you're expecting the birds to come around one more time, but they drop in so quick.
They just do it right away, huh?
Because they're right there. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're kind of handcuffed in a good way.
Yeah.
In a way, I guess. You know what I mean?
Just the way I like it.
Yeah, because you're like, okay, these are going to come. Oh, okay, go.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so we kind of did that for the, we just kind of rode that for the 3 or 4 days, you know? And one of the days that we set up a different type of blind, I think we would have did better for sure if we would have just made a few adjustments earlier to our blind, you know? But we still did well, you know?
Yeah, the wind was also a factor.
The wind was a factor. Yeah. Yeah. So I was just a little too late, you know, when it came down to it. I don't think we would have got our limits, but we would have did better for sure. But it was still good. Yeah, it was still good. And then
I seen that video Braden had, and I was like, my goodness, man. Just hear Kevin in the background, get him or take him or whatever he said.
Take him. Yeah.
I was like,
dude, yeah, that was the Scotch Devil on the first shot. In that
group. That was what the kids call quote unquote a rain out.
and we needed 6 to finish.
That's crazy.
And we finished right there.
Wow. Oh, on that volley, huh?
And on that volley, dude.
That's cool.
I just had gotten back to the blind too. I just sat down.
Wow.
Yep, because he went and did a little walkabout, and we had gotten a few birds in between, and literally he had just got back, and I was like, "Get in!" And you saw the video, Titus. It was like that was a 43. I'll say, yeah, that was 43 in the frame.
Yes, it was 43 in the frame, and then there was probably another 20, 30 just outside the frame that were, 15 yards.
Just outside, yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
By far my biggest, I think, that that we've worked.
Yeah.
That was,
it was special for sure.
Yeah.
It was very pleasurable.
It was very pleasurable. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Even when does it ever get old just watching ducks come in like that, though? Like, whether it's watching someone else's clip or the visions that you have of your own hunts, you just think back to just like, oh my goodness, you know. So,
it's what you dream of.
Yeah,
right.
Literally dream of.
It's what gets you up in the morning.
It is.
Oh, dude, it does. It does.
Searching for that high, that rush.
And that last morning, I think we were all running on empty. Braden was so running on empty, or Polly Goose. Man, he had that heater banging in the morning, dude, in the car ride, because he was like had the chills, dude. He was starting to get like fatigue, you know.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And we were all geared up. We're all like suited and booted, and he's got this thing banging. I'm like, dude.
Yeah. Poor Kevin is
a little dude
sweating bullets on the way to the boat launch.
Oh yeah, because when you put all your gear on at the joint and then you're headed out, it's like you can't have that heater on because you don't need that gear in that moment. But as soon as you get that boat, dude, I will say this: we were out in the boat a couple weeks ago, for whatever it was, a week or 8 days. I'm the guy that's always hot. I'm always like, man, I don't, I'm wearing less gear than Thomas most of the time. He drives him nuts. He's like, I don't. It's just because you're fat or whatever, he's always making fun of me. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. I just like the body heat. But I will tell you this. Every piece of Sitka gear or any type of hoodie or whatever I had was on for those boat rides, dude. And then when I would realize when I get to the spot and now we're going to hunt, I have to shed a layer or so. But it's like, man, you gotta be prepared on those boat rides, son. It ain't no joke.
Oh yeah, that's another dimension right there for you, Titus. Them boat ride trips.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially those California hunters.
I know, a bunch of pansies, dude. Sinking guys have it so easy. We were on the Refuge the other day. Me and Thompson was like, you know what? We really do have it pretty easy when it comes to weather. I was like, I know, dude. It's kind of ridiculous, actually.
It is. I mean, we all wish though we had some crazy cold weather though.
For sure.
That would be a game changer here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
can't
been,
have
No, nothing's used to it here, you know.
Yeah, I was hunting
Birds and
yesterday, and
birds.
I was sweating yesterday, and it's end of November, you know,
Wow.
first of
I
December.
know.
Are you pretty mild? Is Utah pretty, I guess obviously dependent on elevation, but I mean, for the most part, is that kind of area pretty mild, or is it?
This is really rare. I mean, I was looking back at photos last year, and I mean, we already had, you know, water freezing up. I mean, 2 years ago, we already had 2 foot of snow on the ground.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think things are getting ready to change though, from what I'm seeing on old direct weather there.
Yeah, I'm hoping that stays true, because we didn't have any weather all of November. So I'm hoping December and January just get nasty, because once things freeze up, that's when it's game on.
Is it just stupid there when it freezes up?
If you can find open water, it's pretty fun.
How does it work? How does it work out for you if you make open water? Does that really work out, or is that kind of not the way?
I mean, depends if there's birds in the area. I mean, if you go to a spot where, you know, it was loaded 3 days ago, but now it's all frozen, you probably won't see a duck all day.
Gotcha.
I mean, so you're looking for natural pockets that either birds have kept open, or there's a little bit of current moving, or there's, you know, whatever to keep it open.
Yeah. Right.
You know, like the Great Salt Lake, it won't freeze just because of all the salt.
Oh, really? Never does, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when it gets really good out there to shoot old teal and stuff. And so, yeah, if you can find open water, I mean, normally you'll take the birds off and they'll just trickle back in, and it's cool. It's because then you're shooting like real pocket water. I mean,
which is fun. I can only imagine.
It's awesome. I mean, when you get mallards to come into a 10-foot pocket, you know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
now, is it hard to get hidden out there? You probably got to kind of have a good little blind or layout or something.
Yeah. So if there's snow on the ice, it's real easy. I mean, if it's more open water, then you just drag the layouts out there in a sled and with a snow cover, and you're pretty good. We'll throw like full bodies and stuff around us. But if it's, you know, a slough or something that's been up there, normally we have fragmite out here. Frag.
Okay.
So we'll hide in the frag or the tulies.
Oh, that makes
usually
sense.
Or I'll build a little blind. Just cut a bunch of cover.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Kevin, what is your, you know, I kind of maybe use this as the wrap up point, and this might take a little bit, but like just hunting the West, you know, like out West here in all these states. I mean, it's like, we even say it could take years to figure out one refuge, like just really find out the patterns and the times of the year and when to be here. So to try to throw in 5 different states to waterfowl in, I mean, that's a lifetime, right? Like, how do you think you attack that? You know, if that's something you can do, obviously, which is what we want to do. You know, we've talked about it.
Yeah. And recently I've kind of refined my approach, because it was initially like one state, a new state each year, right? And I think once I do the old Washington mission and have a few states that I've already been to, I think I'm going to just kind of ride those for a couple of years and then dabble with another state, you know? I think there's so much opportunity, and I'll just get spread too thin, you know, if I continue to go to another state every year. And we've kind of talked about that. There is one state in particular I will make an exception for, you know? But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to do this one state a year, and I think once I get Washington under my belt, I think I'm going to just kind of do the trifecta of those out of state, you know, besides California, and just kind of conquer those. And that'll keep me busy for a couple years, get those really, really dialed. and then venture out to another.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's kind of my approach now. You know.
Yeah. Do you ever like, Paulie? Do you ever like still come out here and hunt and just kind of bounce around like you? I mean, you could stay busy, I guess, for the rest of your life in Utah, probably, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I do come out. I come out, to visit family during the holidays, and I'll go back to kind of my old stomping grounds and stuff, and then try to get back to Utah as fast as I can.
That's good, though. That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool that you found somewhere like that you really like and enjoy, because I mean, and I wonder, might be getting off a little bit of a side note here, but like, different states, I never felt this way, and I'm not trying to give details or nothing, Kevin. Hopefully it doesn't bother you, but like we've talked about it, like, Washington, I never felt that way. That locals there had a problem. I mean, I've got some comments and videos and stuff, but for the most part, people are pretty cool and chill. Like Idaho is pretty rough. Like I was surprised how they're pretty against California people, and we talked about that. Like I've seen other plates and other people from other places in California, and I've never once thought, get out of my state, like, and we can have some of the best hunting around and the best variety. So I don't know what that, I guess that's just a personality thing. Like it's a mental mindset. Like everybody from California is bad, or, I don't know what that is, but.
Yeah, that's probably one of the mindsets too. And it doesn't help that a lot of folks from California are moving up to Idaho.
Yeah, that might just because, I mean, do you think it was that way 20 years ago there? Do you think they felt that way to Californians?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay.
No.
Then it's because they're pushing over then.
Ago. It's a pushover. It's probably the whole landscape of this country a little bit, the bad that they hear from California, and the fact that place is getting more populated, right? Mm-hmm. And their gem is getting a little more. Their gems are getting harder to find there now, even for them.
And I get that. Yeah.
We're mining their diamonds now.
Yeah. Yeah.
More.
Mm-hmm.
Always been, but now it's more.
Right.
Plus what they've got, just the expansion, I think, in their population. It's not just Californians. It's also their population expansion of more and more people move there, more people hunting a bit, so it's not like it was in 1995 or 2005.
But I mean, that's in general, right? Like that's California too. Like,
yeah, but we grew up that way. It's always been crowded here. To them, it wasn't crowded there.
Yeah.
I think, I'm just that's how I'm kind of seeing their gripe, right? But not all the Idahonians, hate, but there is guys that just kind of fall into that, if you're from California, you're a POS.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So what's your plans, Paulie, for the rest of the season? Just stick around Utah and hammer down, or what?
I'll be doing a little bit of traveling.
Yeah.
Got a trip planned this weekend. Pretty excited about. Gonna try to get my dad and a good buddy of mine I grew up hunting with. Hopefully on some birds. So
nice.
Looking forward to that this weekend, and then I'll be back, like I said, California for the holidays.
Okay.
Doing a little bit of hunting out there.
I'm gonna try to take him out, Titus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Do a hunt up here.
Yeah, and then a possible trip later in the season with you guys.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So looking forward to that one too.
You think you're gonna be able to swing it?
Oh, I'll be able to swing it.
Okay.
Cool, man. Yeah. We've been talking on and off almost every day about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
The 30th, if you're available, that's when we're leaving.
I'm there.
That's hammer time.
Okay.
That's right.
That's gonna be fun, man.
Yeah, that's good. The Three's Company right there.
Yep.
That's right.
And you know what? It's like the moment you get a little bit tired and you're like, it's like, wait a minute, we only have 2 months left, less than 2 months.
Don't even
And then I'm gonna be crying in my pillow, dude, for 9 months. You know,
it's a race against the clock.
It is, dude.
Oh yeah, right. Well, speaking of like the beginning of the story when you started, or this podcast when you had your talking about your sponsors and snow geese and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've got some options this year too. Speaking of geese, like into February and March.
Mm-hmm.
Going up to the northeastern part of the state.
Mm-hmm.
Our state here.
I'll be in California for that one too.
Yeah.
Do you guys do pretty good on that?
Yeah, it's gotten better every year.
That's good. Right on.
Yeah, last year was a fun one.
So we could ride this potentially out until March.
Yeah. That helps a lot. And then, you can do some traveling a little bit early too. There's some other states you can go to and do some tail stuff if you're really hankering bad. But you can stay busy, man. Like if you really, 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 really want to, you can definitely have a lot shorter time off than most people do. I feel sorry for those guys, and I want to say it's Arkansas where they're like, man, we haven't even started hunting yet. And I'm like, what?
That Mississippi Flyway.
Yeah, some of those spots.
Days,
it's like, God, I feel
60
sorry for those
days in a
guys.
teal season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
I feel for them, dude.
Yeah. That's tough.
My hats are off. My hats are off to you guys.
Yeah.
I think then the first season split just end.
And they do have a split. They do. Yes.
Yeah. I know in Arkansas.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I'm kind of out of the loop with that. Last year.
I am. I'm a little out of the loop of those southern states. Yeah.
I forget that, but yeah, we definitely got it going on here with the liberalness. I do say I like that as far as give me the days, because don't take away my opportunity, because you get a lot of ricers. I'm going to bring this up. I know some of these guys are like, we should start the duck season in November, here, but these are rice guys talking that don't have any opportunity besides that. And I'm like, nah, dude, I've got plenty of opportunity and means to get ducks. Don't take away my opportunity because you don't get your water until Thanksgiving.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Don't go there, dude.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. So
no.
Don't go there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's and my theory, I mean, I like to just, as I think we do as this little group here, just leave it all on the table. So by the end of duck season, I'm ready for it to be over. I'm so
for
burnt.
sure.
Oh yeah. You're about 10 pounds lighter than you were when you started.
A good 10 pounds lighter.
Yeah,
absolutely,
got the dark
dude.
circles under the eyes. You got back of the truck's absolutely full with Red Bull cans.
Oh, dude, and Paulie
Pants
G
are falling
has got
off.
the ultimate. He's got the ultimate. Yeah, like
I live.
Pants, he's got clothes.
I live out of my rig.
Oh yeah, dude.
I'm ready to go on a moment's notice.
You got shells, your gun in there, your waders in there. And your license.
Got shells, gun, decoys. I got clothes for a week.
Oh, dude.
You ain't talking about a one-day trip. You're talking about I'm ready to hit the road in a moment's notice in another country.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I'm going to Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's suited and booted at all times.
And I guarantee you it's paid off many times for being ready like that too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh man, I think I forgot this. And it's just I gotta unbury it from the back seat.
Unbury it. Oh dude. It was like every morning and every night. I mean, because he doesn't have a huge truck anyway, but we would have to like just totally you couldn't
start
even
digging. Get Uno back there, start digging.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
it wasn't worth it for anybody to take anything out of there. It was so packed.
Yeah. It's like once it's in there, it's not moving until we absolutely need it.
Yeah.
And it's going to take some time to get out. And I mean, even, staying at those hotels and stuff, trying to pack that cab full, but I've already got it, almost 3/4 of the way full with my own stuff, trying to pack in your decoys, blinds, all that stuff. It's like you open the door and it's just a wall. It's like, good luck trying to steal this thing because it's going to take you a good 30 minutes at least to get all the crap out. Be able to drive.
Yeah, to get to the steering wheel.
Yeah.
That wasn't an ideal situation up there, living out of a hotel, but it worked for sure. And that was dope, dude. That whole, and like you said, Titus, just build on every year. I was telling the guys, I was like, man, we just keep having like stunners every year, It's just so awesome. It just keeps you going. You're like, dang, it just gets better and better.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We've had some stuff too, dude, that it's taken years to finally get dialed in. And, Kevin, I told you that people even thought that we were out in your spots and like thinking we were in this other area and we were on a refuge, and people just won't believe it. Like they're putting comments on there. I'm like, dude, I'm laughing. Like, you're so far on left field. You have no clue right now what we're doing because it's not common. And Kevin, I'll say it, like, we may not shoot 14 greenheads for a long time again on some of these refuges, but it's like, just because you do it and have success, people are finding a reason why it's not, what you're doing wrong or whatever, And it's like, but like you said, it gets better because why? Because you've put your time in and you figure things out and you figure out timing, and then sometimes it's just dumb luck, period.
Oh, dude, yeah, I'll never. That's never gonna say it's all me because it never is. I can fall on some good luck, dude.
Yeah,
I'm lucky with that.
Kevin's highly blessed by the duck gods.
Dude, the duck gods love him, man.
Oh yeah.
Dude, and like,
what's your sacrifices you make? Like, what kind of is that like a?
Hey, I don't know yet.
The toe of a dead mouse or something, like it's like this weird.
Where it's all going to take shape, what shape it's going to be, and when. I don't know yet. That's going to be something to be determined. And we didn't get to this, but it was like every hunt that Paulie and I have been on so far, it's just been like, it's pretty rad.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like so and we've only known each other. I mean, we've known each other IG wise for like a year-ish, right?
Probably a little over a year.
A little over a year, okay.
Yeah.
And but Titus, like, I mean, you just find some of these ones. You just find, I don't know, they just kind of work, Because you have dialogue with a lot of guys on IG, but sometimes these ones, like, they just.
Yeah, but I don't hunt with any of them,
No, but like the good, not that these ones aren't.
No,
other ones aren't good.
Yeah, they're not
like,
that they're good people.
The Polygooses, the and some other folks, it just kind of happens. That's all. I don't know how. It just kind of like the good ones find the good ones somehow, some way. You will connect.
Yeah. And that's what I've tried to. I've had episodes on where we're just trying to encourage people because I get emails all the time like, I don't have nobody to hunt with. I don't have nobody to go with, and I'm new to and. I know maybe some guys are just trying to find spots, but maybe I think a lot of those guys truly like see the camaraderie and they want that too, right? And I said, we've talked about it and said, I don't need to repeat what I've said. What would you guys, either one of you, say to give some advice to find just that good partner? Like, what would you say? If they're literally a guy that just got into duck hunting like a year ago and they're not really hunting with anybody, what would you say? What could you tell them to kind of maybe at some point find somebody,
Well, when I moved out here, I mean, growing up, it was just me and my dad. It was me and my dad, and we had a buddy and his dad, and that was kind of our main group. And so once I moved out here, I didn't know anybody who hunted. And so I hunted solo a lot my first, 2 years, and I really started meeting people just out in the marsh. I mean, the first guy that I met was him and his brother. I was out there scouting, I was looking online, like areas you can hunt, in Utah, public areas. And there's a spot, pretty close to where I live. And so I went out there, I think 2 weekends before the season or weekend before. And I just wanted to see what it was like. So I probably walked like 7-8 miles that day. I mean, I walked from 9 o'clock until sunset, just all throughout that marsh.
And by the way, Polly Goose is a walker too.
Is he?
My God.
I've already walked the hole through the Sitkas.
Did you really?
Yeah. Yeah, I put on like 8 miles scouting a couple weeks ago and wore a hole in the inside knee from the material rubbing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and when I was out there coming back, I ran into these brothers who were out kind of doing the same thing, and we just kind of got to talking. And I think a great way to meet people is just out there where you're hunting. Like if you're putting in the work, you see someone else putting in the work, it's like, have a conversation. You don't need to give somebody, all your honey holes or this or that, or think someone else is trying to, get in on the, a lot of guys just, they love the sport and they want to talk about the sport. And so when they meet somebody, it's like, chat for a while, you might hit it off. And these guys, I still hunt with my buddy Jesse all the time. And, and then my second buddy that I started hunting with was the same thing. And he was the only other, crazy kid to be walking, 4 miles out in the marsh in the middle of nowhere. And so we were just walking back together and started chatting it up. And, and then also, of course, Instagram. I mean, just kind of having dialogue with people and, kind of seeing some similarities and like how we met. I mean, Instagram can be a great tool to meet people. Social media in general, it's a great way to meet people. There's definitely ways to go about it where you're not trying to come across like you're, trying to pick someone's brain, because nobody wants that. But I think that's another great way is just social media. Or I used to go over to the Sportsman's down the street from my house and, go over to the gun counter and just kind of hang out for an hour or two and just kind of, talk to those guys or
put out the vibe.
Yeah, put out the vibe,
The old Dumb and Dumber vibe and just kind of lift up the old.
Yeah.
No, for real. I mean, that's good points that we didn't even bring up. We were saying that at the Refuge. I don't know. It just kind of, like you said, Kevin, it kind of naturally happens. It's not like you're just going up to people saying, "Hey, I'm alone. Do you want to hunt together?" Which I've even heard that happening and working, for lifelong friends. But just gotta kind of put yourself out there and be friendly,
Yeah, right. And like Paulie said, I mean, he met those two brothers. That happened organically, right? He was just kind of out there doing his thing and happened to stumble upon these folks, right? Everybody's going to be different. I've met folks, the best folks I've met have all kind of happened. They've just kind of happened, right? Non-forced, just kind of, it happened. So that's all I could say. Because I grew up, hunting with my dad and older folks, really. Yeah. And then we, and then had some friends, neighborhood friends that we got into the sport. But I don't really hunt with a lot of guys like my age. I mean, but I didn't grow up. I don't have any guys I grew up with that I hunt with, really. I've all kind of met later on and just kind of through the grapevine. I met a lot of guys selling motors and boats, the pro drives, Yeah, right. A lot of good guys that way. Not all, but there are some guys that stick, just like Paulie Goose and I, met guys that way, selling motors, boats and motors. And lately it's just been kind of the Instagram thing or the social media, because I was not on it for a very long time. So just kind of organically works for me, you're getting out there, because if you're going to be out there with the guys that are doing what you're doing, you're going to find somebody eventually, Yeah.
Yeah. And I've got some good reports, people come back saying, we end up finding somebody, and I don't know. It's because I get it. Like, I've done a lot of solo hunts, and I think that has its own time and place, and those can be just, when you have a good hunt by yourself, there's nothing like that either, though,
Oh, yeah.
But
I mean,
but like you said, Kevin, to have a road dog or somebody that does help,
That does help. There's a time and a place for road dogs, and I like the solo hunts too, just as Paulie Goose likes those too. I mean, we've all grown up though. This is the camaraderie sport, but I think it kind of. But
if you're not willing to put in the effort by yourself, then don't depend on and let's just have somebody else doing it, or that's the only time
yeah.
you're going to go, then guess what? You are going to be sitting at home by yourself, and you aren't going to have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
And I think,
we were all willing
Yeah.
to do that by ourselves and learn, and you learn the biggest lessons by yourself as well, you know?
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Totally.
And I think, you know, how that camaraderie sport, like that's how the sport has kind of been perceived, you know, it's, you know, the great camaraderie in the blind. And it's almost like as this is just my perspective here, as things moved west, that kind of became less to me, because I don't like big groups, honestly.
I don't either.
You know, I don't like big groups, but back east, the south, you know, maybe it's because their limits are so restrictive, like 4 mallards and 5, so you want to go out there and get all these birds. But I couldn't stand maybe over 4 guys. To me, that's crowded. 5 guys is like ridiculous. I mean, there's been a certain few situations, but it's like 3 is my max. You know.
Yep. Same here.
It's just kind of, that's enough camaraderie for me. 3 guys.
Yeah, there's a lot going on already where there are 3 guys.
Yeah, so I think it's like, you know, it's all to each their own. I prefer to be two guys to 1 guy, you know, 3 guys tops doing our thing. You know, sometimes too out here, you know, when you get that California pressure and you're trying to get 21 birds, not that you know, you have to get that, but you're always trying to achieve that goal that the feds or the state, you know, puts in place, right? So sometimes when you got 3 guys trying to get 21 ducks out here, you know, not that if you don't get them, it's not success, but to me, it's a little pressure that, you know, it's just better if I had 2 guys or 1 guy going, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. And I think too, kind of to piggyback off what you were saying, Titus, about, you know, don't be that guy that doesn't put in work and stuff and expect someone else to do, you know, all the work for you. I think too, like it's important to hunt with people who are better than you, you know, or maybe not necessarily better than you, but do things differently. And just kind of see how different people hunt that are, you know, see a lot of success. Because I learn stuff every time I go out in the marsh, either it's by myself or I'm hunting with my, you know, buddies. And I try to surround myself with, you know, waterfowlers that are very successful and in my mind better than me, because that pushes me to be a better waterfowler. And, you know, even like in either hunting or just like in scouting or equipment, or, you know, you could always learn something, you know, from different people every time.
The old adage, right? Iron sharpens iron.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, I agree. You know, guys that have, you know, and never wanting to be static, or, you know, I mean, always willing to learn. We're journeymen, right? But you could always learn as a journeyman. You can. You know, you think you've seen it all, but you got to be willing to learn, or, you know, or just to take in some stuff too, you know. I don't say I know everything, by no means. I'm always willing to listen, you know.
Well, especially Kevin, since we're traveling too, you know, like we're going to places we've never been. Maybe the one buddy has been and the other guy hasn't. You kind of like, okay, what have you seen here before? You know, because I mean, just the way you're doing your decoy spreads and how maybe you're spreading them out at this state or this location, and then the next location you're clumping them and you're making them in a line, or, you know, I mean, those little things all have factors, you know. As minimal as they sound, it's just, you know, if I'm going in your spot you've hunted for 20 years, you have it dialed. I mean, there ain't much I can add to that, you know. But when we're going to places we've never been.
We did. True. And remember when we hunted, I even asked you, like, hey, what, you know, when we had those birds kind of doing this, you know, that whole, you know. So.
I mean, and we were on it's funny because we didn't talk about that right after that hunt. We didn't talk about that for maybe like, it seemed like several days. So, but what's funny is we were both thinking about it, you know, and we were thinking, how could have we done that differently? How could have we changed the decoys to make them come more in this where we wanted them to? And then, and really we came in on the same page. Like, I think that's how I would have did it. I would have did the same way. We'll have to try that next time. But
Yep.
anyways,
Yeah.
it's fun, man. I mean, I've done big game. I've done those other things. They're cool. Like, I'll still do them till the day I die, but there is nothing like waterfowling for me. Me personally, it's just, I just love it way too much, man. That's possible.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's why we got to stay in shape, dude.
I mean, who can do it all day and still talk about it till they go to bed about strategies, right?
Us three.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we could talk for a week straight.
Yeah. That's why I said we got
have to end right now.
Well, that's why I said we got to have a cutoff. We're already an hour and 15. It's like we could sit here. And it takes no effort to talk about this stuff for us. Zero effort.
So,
but I guess we could maybe use this as the ending point. So guys, check them out. They're not worried about getting followers or nothing like that. But I just, they're cool dudes. Kevin and Braden here. Check him out. Paulie_Goose, and then check out Kevin at RC_outboards. And Kevin doesn't want this to be said, I'm sure, but like if you guys are thinking about, getting a boat and you're in California or maybe even Nevada or Oregon or something, hit Kevin up. He does pro drives. So I mean, if it's something you're thinking, he never asked me to do that, and it's just a little side gig, but it's a cool dude to work with, as you guys can tell him being on the show. So
I appreciate that, Titus. And for anybody out there, I'll just can answer questions for folks.
Yeah.
I filled a lot of calls, just, questions. I love talking about any boat, any motor option, whether it be Mud Buddy, Gator Tail, or Pro Drive. I could offer some insight.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks, Braden, for being on here. Kevin, it was a pleasure, gentlemen.
Awesome.
Welcome. Thank you.
All right, we will do it again very soon. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you guys on the next one.